Welcome to the second episode of Family Life Cycle. Today we are talking about child rearing phase. For our context, I feel that it will be appropriate to consider our child's age from 0 to 3 years. So in child rearing phase, your firstborn has already arrived, okay? And then it will go on till the time your child is 3 years, okay? And yes, it can be a point of time where the wife also gets pregnant with the second child, and for some people, the second child will also already arrive within this 3 years time where the firstborn and also the secondborn is there. So we want to keep that in mind, and as newborn arrives, there will be a new challenge, and that challenge is going to be to balance between parenting and to connect as a couple. You have to balance that out because eventually the way you connect as a couple is going to influence your parenting for better or for worse. You can either choose to balance this out and thrive together, or you misbalance it, you divert your attention to different ways and miss out a lot of good things, okay, and do harm for your family life. Therefore, make it a point, be intentional that you work on this balance. And in this video, I'm going to be helping you how to balance that out so that you're both in a win-win situation, okay? So the first thing that we want to talk about is parenting aspect, and here I want to break it down to two again, first for mothers and second for fathers. So first for mothers, we need to be intentional in giving our time and our presence to our children. Of course, like this comes in naturally, but I'm just reiterating it again so that we don't forget the kind of influence that we have in our children, especially in this foundational vital years from 0 to 3. What happens is we carry them in our womb, we birth them, and after that, as we breastfeed them, we hold them in our arms, we have this skin-to-skin connection, we talk to them, we comfort them, and forms connection, forms bonding, okay? And as we give out our love, as we give them unconditional love and acceptance, as we respond to their cry for hunger, thirst, and discomforts, what is happening is we build attachment with them, secure attachment, when we provide it in a way that is fulfilling to them, okay? So this is very important. And also, like when I say that we have to be there for them physically, I do not mean that just being there physically. No, sometimes we are in a place physically, but we can be on a mental vacation, or we are not there, we are not present there, isn't it? So what our children, what our infants need from us is us as a whole being, okay? Emotionally being present with them, physically being present with them and connecting with them. That is what they need from us. And the way we build attachment with them, bond with them, is going to help them thrive in the world as they mature, as they grow up. Now, we say that mother is the replica of the whole world, isn't it? For an infant, through the way we respond to them, they have this worldview, okay? So when we are giving them this undivided attention, when we are attending to them, then they begin to believe that this world is a safe and secure place. People can be trusted. This world is a nice place to live, and their worldview gets healthy, okay? So That's what I would say for mothers. Now coming to fathering tips. Just because you cannot get pregnant or that you did not birth a child or cannot breastfeed does not mean that you are not important or that taking care of a child is solely a wife's responsibility. It's not like that, okay? In fact, your involvement early on in a child's life really matters, and the way you involved in parenting will definitely impact your family's life for good. So you can involve yourself by like holding the child, talking to them, singing them lullaby, changing their nappies or giving them a bath, things like that. You can always find ways to get involved in parenting, okay? And like as I move on and talk about couples connection later on, I think you will also get a better understanding of why being involved as a father in parenting will really matter for your family life, okay? Now, here again, if the wife gets pregnant with the second child, or suppose the second child is also born at this phase of time, then once again, your sensitivity, your patience, and understanding will really matter to your wife and your family's well-being. Okay, so I want fathers to have that in your mind, keep that in mind. And before we move on to the second aspect, I would also like to say something about peripartum depression. Okay, this is a depression which will come about during pregnancy and within the first year of pregnancy. And here, symptoms of depressions will show. Along with this, if it's severe, there will be feelings of harming oneself and also of harming the child. So like in earlier days, we often used to say and hear people saying that pregnancy is not easy, and especially the birthing phase, that's not easy. But once you see the face of your newborn, the infant, all the pains goes away and you're filled with joy, right? But actually, this is not true for everyone, especially for people who go through peripartum depression. And this can confuse you as well, or like for those who are going through this, as well as for the near and dear ones, the loved ones who, feel and think that motherhood should be a joyful moment, right? So, like, I want us to be aware that this does happen, okay? Peripartum depression, this does happen, and when we see our loved ones, or if you are someone who goes through this, I just want to say that we don't need to be suffering that alone, okay? There are avenues available to help you out. You can go for therapy, and if necessary, you can also see a psychiatrist for medication. So help is available. Seek out help and support if need be. That's what I would say. And now coming to the second aspect, we will talk about couples connection. Okay, so marriage is not just about becoming parents and taking care of children, but marriage is also more about you as a couple building your intimacy, being connected and thriving together. And as I mentioned, your couple's relationship, your connection, the quality of your relationship is something that will impact your parenting aspect as well. Okay, so here I would be sharing maybe 5 tips of how you can connect as a couple. The first one I feel would be to have open communication. This is very important. Okay, if there is something which will take you through the ups and downs and keep you glued together, keep you moving forward, I think that is having open communication. Because when you have this open communication, that is when you are able to speak out your heart. You are able to understand each other's point of view. You're able to feel each other, okay, as you express. And therefore, I think being open in your communication is very important, okay, especially with the coming of children. There will be times where the wife is not able to meet the need of the husband, or the husband is not able to, understand the wife. And so, if you're open enough, if you communicate that with one another, then you can also find ways to sort that out. Okay, so communication is the key, and you need to keep that open, which will really help you thrive, not just through this child-rearing phase, but all through your family life cycle phase. Okay, so this is going to be something which maybe I might not repeat it again and again over the next episodes, or maybe I might, but then this is very, very basic, something that couples cannot do away with. Okay, so that's is number one. And then I think the second would be to be an involved parent. Okay, so parents need not just mothers or not just fathers. It's not like, okay, so the mother has given birth, so now the husband, the man, need to take care of the child. Or it's not like, since wives, they get pregnant, they birth, they feed, and they do all those necessary things, they are the ones who needs to be in charge of taking care of children, and that man should wash their hands from this. It's not like that, okay? Children definitely do need both parents, and man and women as husband and wife, as father and mother. You have different things, you have different capabilities, abilities, and certain things that God has for you to give out to your children. Okay, I think we will talk about that in the later episodes, but just highlighting you with that. Children need both fathers and mothers to thrive better. Therefore, it is crucial to be an involved parent, especially in this age where we know that most couples are both going out and both working, right? So there needs to be a balance, and there needs an involvement of both the parents. Okay, and especially, like as I was saying in the fathering tips, I would continue and say that yes, for fathers, get to know this. Okay, and yes, of course, even if I don't say, I'm sure most of you know that, but as fathers get involved in parenting, as fathers take care of children, what happens is, wives, they can also have time to care for themselves, right? They can have personal space, they feel rejuvenated, they can have time for themselves, and they would feel more appreciated, more loved, and supported, cared, and understood, and everything. Okay, so as you get involved in parenting as fathers, you are not the only one who will benefit, but your wife will benefit, your child and children will benefit through that. So it's a win-win for all of you, and therefore you should not hesitate being involved in parenting. So that's the second one, how couples can remain connected. And I think the third one is to crave out time for couples time. Okay, so yes, parenting is important, but your relationship is also very important. Children will come, they will grow, and they will live. But after they live, two of you will remain, right? Children are there because parents are there. They are there because you got married and you chose to have them. So you need to be taking care of them as a team, but then you also need to be nurturing your own relationship. And therefore, don't feel guilty about craving out your time so that you can spend time together. Now, it could be different for different couples. It would also depend on your routine and whether you are staying together or staying apart and things like that. But when we are intentional, we can work on these things, okay? So you can be intentional and work out, crave out your couple's time. Times where you can maybe have some trusted people take care of the baby and go out, just say for a walk, evening walk, or go for an hour or two date, right? Something like that, something simple, okay? A way of connecting with one another as a husband and wife, as people who are passionate about one another and looking forward to spend many, many years together. Okay, so it's dependent on you. There is no one who is going to come and say, oh, you need couples time, so just go out and have this time. You will need to crave that out. Okay, so map that out, be intentional. I think intentional is something that I'm using again and again, but that's the point. We need to be intentional. If not, things will not work out. Okay, so that's the third one. The fourth one is to maintain physical intimacy, right? And when I say physical intimacy, I do not just only mean consummating. Of course, that is very much a part of physical intimacy, and that should be there. In fact, there are many couples for whom physical intimacy or physical this aspect is just to bring a child into the world. And when they, you know, have their children, when they are done with that, done with having children, then they are like just how do I put it? Just like roommates. Huh? They don't have this physical intimacy. They don't have anything to do with their physical aspect. But that's not the way, right? As husbands and wives, you are one, and therefore there should be a time where you coming together and enjoy each other physical presence as well and consummating as well. But other than that, just small gestures like holding hands or giving a hug, even these things, these small things, it really does matters. Okay, so as couples, you need to be keeping that in mind, and especially for women, we also need to understand our husband's needs. And as I was saying before, communication is the key. Okay, so as long as you're communicating with one another and you know each other's needs, then that will keep you in line with what should be and how should be in your relationship. So that is the fourth one. And finally, the fifth one is making use of the nap time to connect with one another. We know that infants, they have nap times, isn't it? They sleep longer. There are cases though where children, they don't sleep. No, not children, but infants. They don't sleep, and couples have hard time dealing with such kind of infants. Yes, that is also there. But majority of infants, they like to sleep. They have nap time, right? So as couples, you need to be using this time to connect with each other, be it to communicate with one another, or sometimes if you're in different places, you can just connect with each other, have a phone call. If you prioritize something, then definitely you can make way to prioritize those things, isn't it? So I think when the children are young and when we have infants with us, we can use those times to connect with one another as a couple so that our relationship does not die off or we don't divert, okay, but we stay balanced. And as we connect as a couple, I tell you, our children will also have secure home environment, and us as husbands and wives, we will also have a sense of fulfillment and we will enjoy our relationship our marriage will be the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so we can dream the perfect picture about our marriage life, but then dreaming alone does not help. With dreams, we also need to be out there practically working out our ways as to how to make our dreams a reality. Okay, because we have only one life to live, be it parenting or be it these phases. It's not going to rewind again. It's once it's gone, it's gone. Therefore, we need to make our best effort in, going through these phases with intentionality. Okay, so that's all I have to share with you for this episode, and I'm sure that there are people watching these videos who have insights and wisdoms to share on how to do parenting and how to connect as couples, things that I have missed out. Okay, so I will be looking forward to your comments. Please feel free to share your insights and your wisdoms with us, and we will have this time again in the next episode. Thank you for staying tuned in till the end.